Hey, good morning. I am good. Very glad that you're here, and I figure we'll get rolling. So the goal for today is to share everything somebody needs to know in order to register for classes in not just the summer 2021 semester, but at Bermuda College more broadly. Because um, I've found in my experience as the BC recruitment officer over the years that it has been it like seems really simple if you're in the bubble, like the BC bubble, because like registering for classes, how tough could it be? But if you're not familiar with like the range of options and processes and as importantly as anything else, the vocabulary, it can be incredibly difficult to successfully navigate the space sometimes and get what you want out of it. So, um, yeah, so I'm very glad that Brianna and Taz have joined us here, and we got everybody watching the stream as well. And we're going to be like bouncing around to uh, from this presentation to the actual BC website because that's more important than anything else. To be honest with you. So I guess to start, like, do you guys have can you tell me what you were thinking about registering for this semester? Okay, I got you. Thank you. Taz, is it? Okay. So I think the best way, and thank you, Taz, for helping clarify things. So I figure the best way we can make our way through this is um, to kind of keep both your inquiries at the front of the presentation so that your needs are specifically being addressed while explaining to everybody how this stuff can work. So as far as like these three key things to identify go, that is, what do I want to take specifically? Um, that's really important. The word specifically, um, because at the college there are a huge range of options available. So, uh, what I mean by that is, wait a minute, let me make it smaller. So, what I mean by that is, at the college, we've got um, uh, credit classes as well as non credit classes. And credit classes are basically the ones that will contribute to a degree or a diploma, like the standard academic stuff. So Taz, for you, like that would be the kind of thing that's most in sync with your interest in particular. So I imagine you'd be just in principle, like broad terms, um, thinking about pursuing like a bachelor's of fine arts in film production at a school like the Savannah College of Art and Design or something. Does that sound reasonable? Okay, cool. So we do absolutely have classes that would contribute to that qualification. Now, they're not necessarily film production specific classes, but they are required classes to complete that kind of degree. Um, and I can be a bit more precise about it as we make our way through. And then as far as Brianna's brother is concerned, the the first place to start for Taz and Brianna's brother, just to see what we got on in the upcoming semester, is to click on the course schedule, which is right here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm using my wife's thing. Uh, how do I do this on Macs? That's embarrassing. Oh, give me a second. Oh, all right. Let's do that. And do that. I'm a Windows guy myself. Oh, that's not working. Okay, there we go. So you can see this, right? Okay, great. Okay, so this is the summer course schedule, which is to say everything that we're running this semester, um, along with the times and teachers and prerequisites. So for UTAS, the stuff that I can say just off the top of my head, which we would need to confirm by doing a little more cross analysis between your specific degree goals and the class by class composition of those things, along with these specific offerings. But just off the top of my head, I can say pretty confidently that you could do, or this college algebra class could contribute, is very likely to contribute to your Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Film Production. The Intro to Business Applications of Computers class, that could contribute as well. The freshman composition class, that could contribute. Literary analysis could contribute. The stats class, maybe. Intro to business, maybe. It's not super likely. But yeah, just so in the summer semester, there are around a half dozen classes that could work for you. Now, as far as Brianna's brother is concerned, do you have a sense of what he was thinking about taking? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thank you, because that does move us forward in the process, because the thing to check out when you're looking at the credit classes in particular that you want to take, um, the first thing to look at is the prerequisite. The prerequisite is basically, in order to take this class, general human biology, you have to have already taken this class, Bio 0013, and have passed it with a C or above. So if you don't have this, you can't do this. And that premise applies to college algebra. So you need, a passing grade in Prep Math 2 to hit that. To data management, you need a passing grades in Intro to Business Applications of Computers and Prep Writing 2 and Prep Math 2, etc. So for the majority of classes, not just in the summer, but across the board, you're going to need a passing grade in either Preparatory Math 2, which is this MAT 0015, to get into all the math-centric classes at the university level. And for the English centric classes at the university level, you'll need to take and pass these two classes here. ENG 0012 and I'm sorry. Hang on one second. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, so the C or above in Prep Writing 2, which is ENG 0012 and ENG 0016. So if you're somebody trying to start this whole degree seeking process, your CPT scores are going to indicate either you're immediately eligible for university level math and or English, or which level of math and English preps that you've tested into. Most folks need at least one prep as part of their process, so it's nothing to feel uncomfortable or frustrated about. It's just kind of normal. So if your brother's tested into classes that have 0 zeros in the front of them for the codes, then that means it's a prep. And for Taz, like that would likely be part of your experience too, because coming into the college, you almost certainly have to take the placement test, which is the math and English skills check that Brianna's siblings took. And that'll give us these results and tell us exactly which classes you're eligible for, and therefore which classes you can take that directly contribute to your overall degree track. So it's possible, if you were trying to take classes this summer, for you to take the CPT this week in order to get these results. But it's depending on what you did in previously, academically speaking, that may not be necessary. What high school did you go to, Taz? Okay, and how long ago did you graduate? Oh, so it was a little while ago. Okay, yeah. Did you come to the college at all in the interim? Mm-hmm. Okay, no worries. Then what I would suggest for you is that like taking the placement test would be necessary as part of your intake process. And then on the basis of those scores, we can figure out exactly what you're eligible for. And if you're minded to start the semester, we can still do it, but you'd have to take the CPT like this week, unless, and this would be really useful information for both you guys, but also anybody watching the stream. There are some classes at the university level that don't have any prerequisites. The most, I don't want to say popular, but the most broadly useful one is this: Introduction to Business Applications of Computers. This is like Microsoft Office, like how to use the full suite of business and software. And this class you can register for without having to meet any prerequisite thresholds. And it's also a necessary class for all the businessy type degrees. Now, for like a fine arts undergrad, it might not fit as a required class. It could work as an elective, but it's much less of a like guarantee, without even having to think about it, safe option than if you were pursuing like an accounting or HR or marketing undergrad or something like that. But it is an option that is available for somebody to take immediately without even having to do the CPT. That is a genuine university level academic credit class. You would email exams@college.pm. Mm-hmm. And that would be to connect you up with the testing coordinator, Ms. Monk, who is very nice, and she'll be able to, figure out a date that hopefully can work for you. If in fact you would like to take classes during the summer, because there's another really important detail about taking academic credit classes over the summer that sometimes folks don't recognize. And I would feel irresponsible if I didn't underline this. So the standard semesters are the fall semester and the spring semester. What I mean by standard is that they're 14 weeks. And the pace at which you move is, in most instances, 3 hours of class time per week for 14 weeks. Now, the summer semester is a compressed experience. So instead of 14 weeks, it's closer to 7 weeks. So that means that you've got to get the same amount of content done that's been built for the 14-week experience, but in half the time. So you see how for this college algebra, the schedule options, it says TR 6 to 9 p.m. That means it's Tuesday nights and Thursday nights from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, algebra. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and I am very grateful that our lecturers are just genuinely so good that they support folks through a process during the fall, spring, and summer successfully every single semester. But the experience during the summer is categorically more intense than it is during the fall and spring, just because the pace is accelerated. So if it's really important to be aware of that before making a commitment, because there's no value in you putting yourself in a position where getting overwhelmed is likely, or at least something to be surprised by and frightened about, kind of thing. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Now, there's a whole other range of options that we offer at Bermuda College that are all laid out, again, on the BC schedule that you can find right on the front page of the website. And it is the options that fall under the Professional and Career Education umbrella, or PACE. Now, these are the options that are, generally speaking, designed to work for grown folks. That is to say, people who are not seeking like an undergraduate degree, like a full academic qualification, rather people that are seeking an industry-specific qualification that doesn't have a whole bunch of extraneous content. Like, I want to get a job in accounting, so I'm going to do an accounting designation. That's it, and that's all. It is focused. It is tight. It is precise, and it serves that particular purpose. That's what the PACE stuff generally does for people. Like, it gives them the training they need to apply for specific niche types of jobs. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that PACE offers every single semester, this summer included. As you can see, there are accounting options via the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. There's a range of compliance options, which continues to become more and more relevant in the local marketplace at a variety of tiers of entry points. We've got IT certifications, a whole bunch of online options, healthcare qualifications that are running. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. But in order to see what you need, starting off with the schedule right on the front page of the website is key. All right, so let's now look back at the other thing. There we go. All right, so we've gone through this part. That is to say, what do I want to take specifically? Am I eligible to take it? Do I meet the prerequisites? And what do I need to register? Now, what you need to register for in most instances is basically like let's say that you wanted to take that freshman composition class, like Taz, you did, and Brianna's brothers did. And that class had those prerequisites, the ENG 0012 and ENG 0016, like the passing grades in those classes. In order to complete your registration, you would have to prove that you satisfy those prerequisites, like you meet those thresholds. Now, you can do that with like a variety of different ways, but it all depends on like what you've actually done to meet it. So let's say you took the CPT TAS next week, and in doing so, you hit the score threshold to go right into freshman composition. So you actually tested beyond those preps. Like you didn't need to take them. Then in order to complete your registration, you would have to share those CPT scores with the member of the registrar's team when you're submitting your registration form. Or let's say when you were in your prior academic experience, you took university level English classes in the past. In order to complete your registration here, you would need to validate that with like a copy of your transcripts from overseas. Or if you previously took those prep classes here at Bermuda College, you would just have to mention that just to confirm it, because like as they're registering you, they'll they'll have to see your prior Bermuda College record in order to do so. However, if like your name has changed, or like just to be sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible, you being as clear as possible about your academic history is really important. So those are the three key things to identify when it comes to starting the registration process. What I want to take, can I take it? Do I need the prerequisites? What do I need to register? Now, the next thing to think about is, where is the info that I'm looking for? And there are two primary resources that you should check on the website. And we just looked at one, that is the semester by semester schedule. Now that tells you exactly what's running in the upcoming semester. Now the semester by semester schedule is generally available just a couple of weeks before the start of each semester. So it's not the kind of thing that you'll be able to find. Like let's say we were having this conversation about taking classes in the summer in February of this year. That schedule just would not have been produced yet. So that kind of more granular information wouldn't necessarily be available to you at that stage. However, the second thing to look for when you're trying to figure out what you want to register for and whether it works for you is to check out the Bermuda College catalog. Now, this is the BC Encyclopedia. It summarizes, at least, if not details in full, everything that we do, everything we offer, all the rules we're governed by, everything that you need to pursue your goals. So I will see if we can look at that now. And to get it, because you guys can see the website now, right? Okay, cool. So to get the catalog, you just got to go to menu and then hit BC catalog. Now, if you're on a Windows machine, unlike me at the moment, which is slightly annoying, it'll just pop up in like another window. But if you're on an Apple machine, for some reason, it'll download it and then make you open it. And then I gotta do this so you can see that. All right, you can see the catalog now, right? All right, sweet. Oh, you do? Okay, cool. So the cool thing about the catalog is that it brings you, it gives you the most available detail at Bermuda College about everything that you could possibly ever want to know. And if you call the college and ask people to answer questions about stuff, 9 times out of 10, if they don't just know, this is the document that they will refer to get your answer. So you can always just reach out to us and sort of skip this process. But if you're minded to, getting comfortable with the catalog is the way to expedite and make your Bermuda College experience as efficient as possible. So the thing that I wanted to show both of you guys was within the catalog, it lays out, like the admission requirements and application stuff and how prior academic currency is interpreted and lab fees, etc. But the thing that's most specifically useful for you guys, I would think, is this, which is to say the class by class breakdown of all the different degrees that we offer. Now, the one that would probably make the most sense for somebody thinking about film it would be one of two. Either the Associate of Arts in Art and Design, which would be like the first half of a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in something, or the Associate of Arts, which is more like a general liberal education associate's degree, which you can customize to reflect the requirements of your undergrad of choice. So the reason the reason I know that for SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, this would be the best option for you is for somebody pursuing like UTAS, a Bachelor's of Arts, a Fine Arts in film production. And I think you mentioned as well, Brianna, one of your brothers be interested in like cinematography or something. This associate's degree right here, it forms the first half of any undergraduate degree at SCAD, at the Savannah College of Art and Design. And they have a bunch of cinematography / film production specific degree level options. So this would mean that if you started at Bermuda College with us taking this, when you got there, you'd be able to start at the beginning of your junior year. So you'd be halfway to completion. And that's pretty neat because SCAD is the coolest. Well, let me not. I think SCAD is the coolest school for creatives in North America. Like their graduates go on to work at like Xbox and Pixar and Naughty Dog and like any of the like big media houses that you can think of that does cool work that you're obsessed with. They got SCAD graduates working for them. Like they have people like James Gunn and Steven Spielberg as guest lecturers, and it's not like a weird thing. Like that's just kind of normal, like it's that kind of school. Now, the thing to keep in mind though is that with the school being that cool, it's you could expect that it's going to be a little pricey. So being able to cut half of that tuition cost, not almost completely in half, potentially completely in half, depending, by starting at Bermuda College, it can really make that next half of it possible in a way that it wouldn't be without BC. And the thing that makes this Associate of Arts in Art and Design so especially useful for creatives is that it is a spectacular foundation in fine arts training. Like you come out of this thing equipped to convert like the idea in your head into something that people can experience in reality. Like you're able to take the concept and put it on paper, on easel, on a computer screen. Like it's just marvelous in that way, which is a skill set necessary for all creatives, working in the visual mediums. So yada yada yada. I would think this would be the best option for both your brother and for Taz. But it may be that if you're not thinking about SCAD, the option that fits a bit better would be this one, the Associate of Arts, just the Associate of Arts, rather than the one with the specialization in art and design, because as you can see here with the list of classes that this associate's degree is composed of. Oh, I'm sorry, I went down one too many. There we go. So yeah, this is the Associate Arts. So this is the list of classes you'd have to take and pass in order to earn this associate's degree. Now, as you can see, the vast majority of the classes listed have this qualifier here, elective. And what that means is you can choose what class you take as long as it falls within the necessary like subcategory conditions. So it'd have to be, for this one, a humanities elective, which would be like a Spanish class or a world history class or something along those lines. And then for natural sciences, it'd have to be either a biology class, a chemistry class, a physics class, or an earth and environmental science class, et cetera, et cetera. So the reason this might work better for you guys than the Associate Arts and Design, depending on the degree and university you're trying to transfer into, is because you can customize this thing here at Bermuda College, class by class, to reflect the specific requirements of that degree overseas. So you can make sure that you're still on graduation track with us while making sure that you're only taking classes that will directly contribute to that degree at your university of choice. So you're not, I don't want to say wasting any effort, but like you're not taking anything that doesn't get you closer to your overall goal. But you know, which one specifically will work best for you, it'll all depend on the answer to questions that we don't have yet, which is, you know, which university are you trying to go to and which degree are you seeking when you're there. But as a general start point for both of you, these would be the two degrees that I would think would make the most sense. But we have like a whole bunch of others, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 different associate's degrees, 18 different beginnings to an undergraduate pathway, which is just wonderful. And in the catalog is where you'll find like the class by class breakdown on everything. And in addition, in the catalog, and this is really important as far as registering for classes is concerned, if you scroll to the like beginning of the, or the end of the middle of the catalog, you can see this here, the course description section. And the course description section is really important because it gives you a little more detail on each of the classes and the prerequisites attached there too. Because to go to that English class that we had talked about before, the freshman composition, and this applies to like everybody seeking a degree, because everybody seeking a degree will have to take this English class. All right, so freshman composition right here. So the prerequisites, passing grade of C or above in prep reading 2 and prep writing 2. So let's look at prep reading 2, which is right here, ENG 0016. Turns out that has a prerequisite as well. So you can't take this unless you meet the necessary threshold. And the prerequisite for prep reading 2 is a passing grade in prep reading 1 or the necessary score in the CPT. Prep reading 1 does not, well, it has a prerequisite, which is to say you gotta, you can't test below this on the CPT basically. But the reason that these course descriptions are so important is because if you didn't know that you needed these, like these other preps, you might think, okay, I just got to take this one class and then I'm good. But it may be you need to take 2. So getting this additional information, you can find it inside the BC catalog linked to the front page. So yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I got you. That is a wonderful question. You're doing so well, both of you, at helping move this thing along. because you're leading right into the next part of um, the actual pre-prepped presentation, which is super dope. So thank you for that. All right, so the difference between PACE and credit classes, and I promise this is answering your specific question. Now, PACE classes, those workforce development, professional training specific stuff, like they generally take less time to finish and they've got fewer prerequisites. So in most cases with PACE classes, not all, but most, you can just sign up for them, take them, finish them, get the piece of paper and move on. Whereas with the credit classes, and that's what you were just looking at, the subset of insurance options available at community college, they form part of degrees, diplomas, and certificates. So taking a single class or a single like cluster of classes, it's not gonna give you something to put on your resume within themselves. I'll show you what I mean. So if we go back to the thing here. All right, so here's the Associate of Arts in Business Administration. So this is the list of classes that you would take and pass in order to earn this associate's degree, right? And what one could do with the Associate of Arts in Business Administration is earn it, taking past all these classes listed, transfer to a school like Mount St. Vincent or Georgia State or Dalhousie or St. Mary's or any number of schools that we have relationships with, or even schools that we don't, to complete your bachelor's degree in business administration with a major, with a focus in a particular subdiscipline of business, which could be accounting, management, insurance, law, computer information systems, or hospitality management. So if you were to do this, Associate of Arts in Business Administration, with the goal of becoming a broker, how old are you? Okay, so this may not be the most efficient path for you, to be honest with you, but it is one that is reliable and works. You could do this associate's degree and max out on the insurance classes to fill like the business electives obligations you got, and identify your university overseas to complete your undergrad in insurance and risk management. And to finish the whole thing. And that would be, you could do something like that through Georgia State, because we've got a relationship with them that facilitates the super smooth transfer of credits and student experience from one place to the other. So I say all that to say, it's not like I want to be a broker. Which specific insurance classes do I have to take to check the necessary boxes to get into that space? It's a much more extended and comprehensive process to do it this way through the earning academic qualifications. Now you might be able to, and I'm embarrassed to say that I'm not at all familiar enough with these alternate non-Bermuda college paths to give you any sort of useful guidance. But like the Bermuda Insurance Institute may have like more efficient pathways for somebody that's about your age that could get them to their goal in a more efficient way. Now, I don't know that those more efficient ways will be as broadly useful and valuable to you as getting a standard academic qualification, because like having your degree matters a lot in this point in human history. But if you're trying to sort of shave as much time as possible and get to a specific goal in particular, then this may not be the best fit for you. But what I can promise is that if you do come to us to pursue this, we'll do everything that we can to make it as smooth and comfortable and efficient as possible. So you're not wasting a single day of your time and dollar of your money. Um, you know, mhm. Oh, okay, cool. Congratulations. Mhm. Yeah, you're very welcome. And I appreciate you asking as well, because the more questions you guys ask, the better I can serve not just you, but everybody listening and watching. So let's. Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah. Like we still have a whole a wide range of like on campus like student activities, along with student employment. Um, but that is specifically for students who are in a degree program and uh, yeah, like they have to be a member of a degree program. So you would have had to have applied and been accepted to and started the process of earning the Associate of Arts in Art and Design, for example, to get access to the student employment. But all that is well, pre-pandemic, like all that was standard, and I'm assuming that that will continue to be the case in the future. But I'm embarrassed to say I can't be super definitive about it, just because um, that's one conversation I haven't had when it comes to like the post-pandemic reality. But I would be shocked if student employment didn't kick back in the way that it used to. That would be weird to me. Um, does that help at all? Okay, and we do have an on-campus radio station that's run by Latoya Brangman, DJ LA, and she's really cool peeps. And she kind of, as I understand it, runs her own show. So like once you get folded into the BC infrastructure, getting you connected with her is not like a difficult thing. And yeah, I don't want to speak for her, but I'm sure she would be happy to have at least the help and maybe a new partner, a new subset of shows. So yeah, that that could be doable too. Uh-huh. Hmm. Dr. Tolaram is one of Bermuda College's senior English lecturers. She is absolutely, to my mind, marvelous. Not just in English, but she also teaches the Intro to Film Studies classes, which is like the history of movies. So for anybody that's seeking like a cinematography or film um, designation, taking those classes as humanities electives would just make a lot of sense. So yeah, that's where you would connect with Dr. Tolerant. Dr. Smith and Mr. Walsh are the senior art lecturers. So they're the two guys that you'll meet in the studios when you're actually, putting your hands in the clay, touching the paint, grabbing the pencils, as well as learning about the history of art, like who did what, when, and why is it important. And they're both really, really good people. Yeah, like the art students are as a cohort, like really, to my mind, like my experience of them is that they're like satisfied and happy and inspired on a regular basis. So and a big part of that is Dr. Smith and Mr. Walsh's engagement with them. So yeah, like those are important names to ask about, and you'll definitely get to know them as you move your way through the art and design track. For you, Taj, as well as Brianna's brother. All right, so the other thing that distinguishes PACE classes versus credit classes to keep in mind is this. And thankfully for you guys, it doesn't seem like this would be like a disappointing fact, but it's still like an important one to underline. So the standard Bermuda College financial support is for credit classes, not for PACE stuff. Now, you can use the government grant that comes up every year for any BC class, including PACE options, but that the normal Bermuda College financial support that comes up every semester, that's been in place since the college has existed, as far as I know, like that's for credit classes, which is to say the academic designation stuff that both Utah's and Brianna's brother would be pursuing. Now, that said, the summer semester, which starts next week, there just isn't time to get financial support for classes that start next week, because the whole intake process and like it's the timeline is just a bit too tight. However, what I must say is that we do not want money to be the reason somebody doesn't come to school. So if it's like, if when you hear that the financial support is not going to be available, you think, oh, I guess, well, I'll just come back later. Please don't do that. Like, please just reach out in a more sort of direct, I guess, offline kind of way. And I'm not just talking to you guys, Brianna and Taj, but to anybody that may be watching the stream or listening to it, just shoot me an email at tdill@college.pm so we can talk a bit more in detail about your circumstance and goals. And, it's possible that we can work something out. Now, I am not in charge of making any sort of decisions in any way about anything that has to do with a student's tuition or finances or whatever. I'm just saying, when a student shows up at Bermuda College and they register for classes and demonstrate commitment and interest in getting this school thing done, Bermuda College is not trying to have them walk away because their money's a little tight. Like, that's just not what we're trying to do as an institution. So, the more you lean into this process, the more you can be supported as you do so. So, yada, yada, yada. Don't let money be the reason you walk away, because chances are we can figure something out. So how do I get into class? As one can expect nowadays, in this hopefully soon to be post-pandemic reality, doing everything online just kind of makes sense. So you can register for your classes online. You can prove you meet the prerequisites online if required, and you can pay online. And to do this online, you need your BC student ID number. Now, in order to register, you need the registration form. And let's show you how to get that. The quickest way to get it, and not just the registration form, but all of the forms that you could need. So you guys can see the Bermuda College homepage right now, right? Okay, cool. All right, so you go to the search bar and you type in forms. And the first thing that pops up is student forms. This is every single form that any student could ever need to interact with Bermuda College, like right here. So the form you want to get to register is the registration form for credit courses. And it's just, actually, let me do this so I can show you. Where is it? Are either of you guys Mac people? I can't blame you. I think you're both geniuses. Okay. Here we go. So this is the registration form. And as I hope you can tell, it's really uncomplicated. Um, like it might look overwhelming because it's a whole bunch of different slots you got to fill in, but really it's just like personal details, like who you are, where you live, how to get in touch with you, are you Bermudian, um, and then, and this is the most important part, the course code, the section, and the course name. The course code is the 3 letters, 4-digit thing. So for the freshman composition class that we talked about, that first year English, it would be ENG 1111. And then the section that you would be choosing from. This wouldn't apply to summer classes so much because in the summer there's only one section that runs. What section is like schedule option for the same thing. So let's say that freshman composition class, there's section 1 would be running, and I'm just making this up for the sake of for clarity's sake. So freshman composition section 1 could be running Mondays and Wednesdays from 6 to 9. Section 2 of freshman composition could be running Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 9. It's the exact same class, but section 1 is the Monday, Wednesday option. Section 2 is the Tuesday, Thursday option. So when you're filling out your form, it's really important to choose to put the right section down, because if you put the wrong one down, it could conflict time-wise with the other classes you're choosing. So that'll mean that your registration can't be processed because there's a conflict that breaks it. Or it could be that the one that you've mistakenly put down in the section is full, so there's no more room in that class for you, so you wouldn't be put in the class. So yeah, like making sure you get the section correct is really important. Audit is only for students who are not trying to take the class for credit, which is to say you're just taking it for information rather than earning any kind of degree. So that wouldn't apply to it at all. Whether the class is waitlisted, that it almost never applies to summer classes. So don't worry about that one. And course name, that's just the name of the class. So for freshman composition, it would be freshman composition. Don't worry about this fee line either. Like the only 3 you really got to worry about are the course code, the section, and the course name. And then this part, for sponsored students, this is, again, it only applies to students who are being sponsored. But if you're not, then you just sign and date it yourself, and then you can go to pay online by following this link. So I hope it's clear that like this registration form it's not complicated. It's something you can totally do, on your computer in a couple of minutes, and then you would email it after you completed it to SCRR@college.pm, sir@college.pm, and that registration form. Uh, you can drop it off. It's preferable to email stuff through, like scan it if you can. But you know, mhm. Oh, okay. hmm Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Like for that, for the diplomas, for the academic diplomas, these are generally designed for people that have already put together a resume of some substance, but didn't do so with an academic qualification. So for most of the diploma options, they're designed to be like as an efficient pathway as possible to get an experienced professional and academic qualification. Um, so it presumes that you already know a whole bunch of foundational concepts and practices. So for somebody like brand new, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. So for the diploma, pardon? Uh, that's theoretically possible. Yeah, you'd have to find a school that offers something like that under those conditions. Which I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that would be as likely in like an art space as it would in something like much more I don't want to say more technically granular, but yeah, like it feels like there's a categorical difference between the something like IT and theater production. Um, but to be honest with you, like I have no idea. Like it feels to me that it wouldn't be super likely that you could find a program that would fit those parameters you described, but I could totally be wrong. Like like my ignorance about this, it does not mean it does not exist. It just means I don't know. Um, so please don't take my unfamiliarity as being representative of anything all that meaningful. Yeah, no, it's a good question. Like we the reason that Bermuda College has built these diplomas here for experienced professionals is because we were guided by industry. Uh, like there's a bunch of people who have been working in IT for a bunch of years, but didn't go to university. Like this was a way to get them a qualification that met the HR obligations of the places they worked for. That didn't mean they had to go away to school for 4 years to hit similar targets, kind of thing. Um, so there hasn't been like a similar like market demand for theater, but yeah, I mean that may change in the future. Uh, yeah, does that all make sense? Okay, cool. All right, let's bounce back to the other thing, which I got to now pull up. There we go. All right. Oh, this was the thing I wanted you to see. Okay, so you can see the college's website now, right? Okay, cool, 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 cool. So in order, because at the bottom of the schedule, um, not schedule, I'm sorry, the bottom of the registration form that you were looking at, Brianna, it's got the link that says college.bm/payment, so you can like do the payment online. Here's what that actually looks like. So um, the amount, what you're specifically trying to cover, and this is really important to make sure you know what you're trying to pay for. But uh, yeah, this is the really important thing here. Student number. Your student number will be automatically generated and assigned to your profile at Bermuda College as soon as your materials have been submitted. So you won't have a student ID until your registration form is sent in. So if you want to pay online, after you send your or as you send your registration form in, just request that your ID number be emailed back to you so that you can do your online payment. Because you'll need the ID in order to do that. Like otherwise, like the college will receive the money, but they won't know who to apply it to. Um, and then yeah, it's really that simple. So that's that. Now Okay, that went a little faster than I anticipated. Okay, so do either of you two have any questions at all? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, the CPT fee is $30 clean. Um, and what I would suggest is for you, Taj, I would suggest uh, just completing the full application, uh, actually, rather than just doing the CPT, because you can save yourself $20 that way. Because the application fee is $50, um, but in doing so, you're you're able to take the CPT. Like your CPT fee is baked into that. Um, so if you do the CPT first, you got to pay $30 up front, and then after you complete your application, you got to pay $50 then. So it'll be $80 overall if you do it that way. But if you do the application first, do the application fee, you don't need to pay the additional $30. Um, Now, is that $50 like something that just doesn't work for you? Like you can't. Oh, okay, okay, cool. So yeah, I would suggest like just do the full application for the Associate of Arts in Art and Design, um, as soon as you can. And yeah, if because you could complete all this stuff. This is the admissions checklist right here. So the application form, the proof of your citizenship, like your passport with the status that says you're Bermudian in it. Any prior transcripts, if you can get your hands on quick. Because for you left Cedar Bridge in 2015, and you haven't been away to school any intervening years or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. So we may even still have your transcripts on file. To be honest with you. And then the application fee of $50. Like if you get all this stuff in, then you're done with your application process. Like paperwork wise, at that stage, all you got to do is just take the placement test, and then you're completely finished. No, one of these, because all we need to know is like where you're a citizen of. Yeah, because if you're a Bermudian citizen, that means we can charge you the lowest possible tuition. Um, and if you're not a Bermudian citizen, then it's still possible we can charge you the lowest possible tuition, but we have to find some other stuff out on top of that. But as a Bermudian, you're automatically entitled to the lowest possible tuition, like immediately. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they should fill out and submit their application, the document that I think you were referring to right here to admissions at college.bm. That'll go to Miss Simons, who is the admissions officer, and she's the one that processes all of the application documents. So and since they've already taken their CPT, that if they submit all this other stuff too, the form, proof of citizenship, application fee, and transcripts, then they're done. So she can get their acceptance letter back to them, as quickly as possible under those circumstances. Even better, the once they get their acceptance letter, they'll be, and this would apply to you as well, Todd. They'll be guided. Well, they'll be congratulated on being accepted to Bermuda College, and thanked for their successful application. And then they'll be guided to reach out to the Bermuda College Career and Counseling Department to set up their first official intake meeting with their counselor. who'll be assigned to them for the duration of their experience at Bermuda College. And in that intake meeting, their counselor will talk to them about their big picture goals, make sure that the degree that they have joined is in fact in sync with what they're trying to do, and then using their prior academic currency and or CPT results, walk them through the schedule for the upcoming semester, along with what they're eligible for based on those prior results, and then choose classes with them. So they're not doing it by themselves at all. Um, yeah, because it's entire, like the goal that one of the goals that we have is to support students into as much independence and agency as possible, but it's just not reasonable to expect that they can set up their college schedule themselves in their first semester. Like that just doesn't work. So baked into their application process is guaranteed support for that part of the process. Um, and if they get jammed up at any point along the way, like confused, turned around, they can always reach out to me, and I can do what I can to support them. And I've learned over the years, like 9.5 times out of 10, problems are solvable. And they're almost always like not as significant as they might feel like. So if they get stuck, or if you get stuck, Taj, just please let me know, and tell me what happened, and chances are I can figure out how to get you in touch with the person that can fix your problem, or just support you through it myself. Yeah. tdeal@college.bm is my email address, as you can see right here. Or you can call me at 239-4099, or during the pandemic period. I imagine this will continue after that's over with. You can hit me on my cell as well, 705-6677. You can see that, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, that works for you, sure. Just make sure you like identify yourself. Um, you know, because I get some. I shouldn't even say some. I get a bunch of cold WhatsApps, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, Mr. Dill, what's up with that class? I'm like, I don't know which one. Like, who are you? So yeah, just remember to ID yourself, and we'll be all good. Mhm, mhm. Yeah, whatever works best. So I are does it seem like for either of you guys, like your brothers, Brianna, or you, Taj, yourself, like, are you trying to take classes next week? Or are you thinking like fall would make more sense? Hmm. Yeah. I honestly, I'll just be honest. I tend to think for new students, like starting their first college experience, starting in the fall is generally speaking a better fit, just because of the pace. Like, instead of having to deal with that 7 week experience, you can plant your feet, get a bit more comfortable, learn how to be successful, and then over time, if you want to take a summer class or two, or three, you can do that later. But sort of leaning into that after you're good at this college thing, that is generally a better idea, I think. But you must ignore me. Like, that's just what I think. You know, like, your judgment is always more important than mine. Okay. So I think are we good? Okay, cool. You're very welcome. All right, great. I'm glad. And y'all got my deets, so if you need something, just hit me up, and I'll do what I can do to support you. No worries. Cool. Take care, y'all. Have a good day. Thank you. Right. Cool. So that went pretty well. Thank you to everybody that has been watching on the stream, and everything that I just said to Brianna and Taz, not Taj. I am so sorry about that. Please forgive me, sir. It applies to you. So if you've got any specific questions that you'd like to have answered now, you can about the upcoming summer semester, how to register. If we didn't go through them in sufficient detail or in a useful way for you, you can just hit me up at tdill@college.pm, 239-4099 or 705-6677. Any of these methods are completely fine, whichever is easiest for you. So yeah, thank you very much for your time and your commitment, and hopefully we'll be able to speak soon. Yeah, so have a great day, and I'll talk to you in a bit.